One of the things I love to do when I'm driving here in Oregon or wherever is I'll either listen to podcasts or I stack my time with phone calls. And that's one of the things I learned several years back, that to try to use my Slack time to be productive, right? Rather than just listen to the radio or something like that. So I love having phone calls. So I'll have Jen, my assistant, schedule up a lot of my drives to hop on calls with colleagues or partners or customers or even just entrepreneur friends. And I'm actually driving back again from Klamath Falls, Oregon, to my hometown of Roseburg, where Carrot is headquartered. And it's about a 2.5 hour drive. If you have listened to the podcast for a while, you probably heard an episode I did probably 10, 15 episodes ago. I did 2 episodes on hiring, actually, and one on the Colby score, how we use this Colby score test to really hire the right people on our team and to make sure that we're hiring at the right times and putting people in the right spots. And then I also did one on that same drive on hiring A players. Well, the thing is, both of those podcasts were kind of inspired based on phone calls that I had with people on those drives. And I said, yeah, man, I should really do a podcast on those. So I did, and I got a lot of great feedback from listeners of the CarrotCast about those truck talk episodes that I dubbed them. And so I'm driving back from K-Falls again. I was at OIT, my alma mater. I'm on the foundation board, the Oregon Tech Foundation board, with some other amazing people. And we've got some big things to do to really grow that university. And this is going to be a shameless plug for Oregon Tech. We've got 3 or 4 team members from Oregon Tech at Carrot that you guys are working with every day if you're a Carrot customer. Amazing people. And over and over again, Oregon Tech is showing up on the national lists of being among the most high ROI universities in the country. There's several lists that put Oregon Tech on a list over many Ivy League schools on the ROI and value that they put out there. We're always on the U.S. News and World Report in the top the number 1 Western university, or all kinds of stuff. So it's a small college in Klamath Falls, Oregon. We now have a campus just south of Portland, Oregon, and Wilsonville. And if you're thinking about engineering or mechanical or electrical or health occupations types of things, or computer science, or even now entrepreneurship, we're going to be building some amazing innovation centers out of OIT. So check it out. Amazing value and amazing university, hands-on stuff. So commercial now over. So I was just talking to a friend and colleague of mine, and we got done with the call, and he's like, dude, that needs to be a podcast, right? So he's an entrepreneur. He's helped us here at Carrot with some things, but I've known him for years, and we all go through things in our lives as entrepreneurs where we have ups, we have downs, we have parts where we're insanely confident. We think it's just unstoppable, and during those times, you almost can't fathom that things are going to be bad. Like during those times, you're like, it's always going to be this way. My income is never going to go below this level because I think I've got it figured out. And there's other times when you just can't figure it out. You think, man, what is it? I just cannot figure out what my issue is. I cannot figure out how to crack through this hurdle, through this roadblock, through this brick wall. And the key as an entrepreneur is making sure that we know how to deal with those, is making sure that we have the frameworks and the mindsets that are deep inside of us that help us through those. When we're at the highest highs, we need to make sure that our mindset allows us to recognize that this won't last forever, but there's things that we can and should put in place to make it last as long as possible, and to make sure that we're guarding our money correctly and making that money go out and work for us and keep growing, and making sure that we're not getting overconfident and not looking at things that could trip us up. Okay, one of the things that we do here at Carrot is when we're doing our annual planning, one of the things that I always do is we go, okay, what are the things that if they happen to our business would absolutely kill us? Like we would be done. What are those things? And we write those down, and those are some of the very first things that we tackle in that next year. And the reason is because oftentimes we start planning about the revenue, and we plan all the really good stuff, right? Hey, here's the marketing we're going to do. Here's the revenue we're going to tackle. Here's the problems we're going to do. Here's the products we're going to build. Here's the people we're going to hire. But what we don't do often enough is we don't look at the things that could kill our business in one fell swoop. What lawsuits could happen that could kill your business? Okay? What and what are you doing to put safeguards in place? Okay, we asked that question a couple of years ago. One of those questions was, shoot, if Trevor or Chris, my co-founder, technical co-founder, if one of us kicks the bucket, this company's probably done at this point, right? So what we did after that was immediately we got to plan, and we said, okay, what do we need to do if one of us kicks the bucket to where this company can still succeed and thrive? Well, we hired more people, the right people. We got redundancies in certain roles. We bought life insurance plans. So if I kick the bucket, then my family is protected, and so is the company. The company gets a big payout to hire a new CEO for the company that's competent, and my family gets a big payout, right? There's all kinds of things. So we need to be making sure that we're thinking through those things. What happens if your lead source dries up? Is your company done? If that's the case, what do you need to do today to make sure that doesn't happen? So think these things through. But what myself and my friend were talking about today was kind of when you're in a transition period as an entrepreneur, how do you mentally deal with that? I know for me, I've told this story many times on podcasts, but this was 2012, 2011. I had to go through a massive transformation myself. Okay, we were making good income. I had some businesses that were doing well. I had a great business partner, loved the dude to death. We're still amazing friends, and we meet up a couple times a year in a mastermind that we do together. Amazing family. Made a bigger income than most people my age at that time, but I wasn't happy, and I had to go through this transformation. And one of the things I ended up doing through that transformation was I took mental stock of everything that I had done in any previous business, or even that one that I had at that time. And sorry about the background noise, guys. I'm driving. It's really windy outside, so that's the beauty and the charm of the CarrotCast truck talks that I do every now and then, is you get to hear some ambiance of the background of the highway. But it was just snowing really hard up in the Cascades, so it's not snowing now. It's all clear. I'm on the west side of the Cascades, just between Grants Pass and Roseburg right now. I've got about another hour till I get home. But anyway, so one thing that I did kind of to safeguard myself against starting another company that I grew to despise was I wrote down what I call non-negotiables. And non-negotiables, I think, are a really amazing tool that we should all be using in our lives in many different aspects, right? So as an example, if you're looking for a spouse, you should probably have some non-negotiables, right? I'm not saying you should write those and put them on the wall so people can see them, but you probably have some non-negotiables just so you can make sure that you're going to be the happiest you can possibly be with your spouse, with your job, right? Or a business you start. There should be non-negotiables that you are absolutely not willing to negotiate in that business, in that scenario, whatever those non-negotiables are for. And if those non-negotiables are ever compromised, you'll either act immediately to make sure that doesn't happen, or you will separate yourself from the situation. And so after I sold my last company to my business partner, and that was mainly so I could gain mental separation, I wrote down 5 non-negotiables. I'll read you my non-negotiables right now. I did a webinar. Actually, I do a webinar at the start of every year that's kind of helps you plan out the year, that I walk through my non-negotiables, but I'm going to go through them again here. And I want you guys to make sure you come up with your own non-negotiables, because they're some of the best tools that I have ever found as an entrepreneur to make sure you're building a business with intention, to make sure that you're building a business that you actually enjoy. It's so easy to get locked into the glamour of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship today is almost like if you're an entrepreneur, that's the sexy thing to do today. Okay, 10, 15, 20 years ago, if you're an entrepreneur, you were in between jobs. I had someone tell me one time that the actual meaning of the word entrepreneur, now I haven't checked this, but my buddy said the meaning of the word entrepreneur is between jobs, is between things, okay? So inherently, that's not a good thing. You know, in history, if you're between things, it was kind of, you're a slacker. It was something where, why couldn't you hack it at that last job? But for some reason, the last decade or last 15 years, the entrepreneur has been glamorized, and they're cool all of a sudden. Okay, it's cool to go out there and take a risk. It's cool to not have a job. You know, it's cool for some reason for people to tell your boss to shove it, when I think that's stupid. Okay. But anyway, so entrepreneurship is over glamorized. And what happens is people go into entrepreneurship looking at the great things, but they don't hear about all the horror stories that you have to put up with as an entrepreneur. I've got a payroll right now that's pushing 50, 60, 70,000 bucks a month. Okay. So each and every month before the month starts, I've got to cover, a lot of money, right? But the thing is, we've built a business based on these non-negotiables to be able to support that. So it's not a strain or a stress. It's actually a blessing that we've got these amazing team members on our team that we're so fortunate that we can provide great salaries for to support their families. But it wouldn't happen without setting true non-negotiables for the business ahead of time. Okay, but what I'm getting at is you can build businesses that are based off of this glamour of entrepreneurship, that once you get locked in there, you end up seeing that entrepreneurship is not all unicorns and roses, okay? It's a lot of hard stuff. And pardon my French, guys, entrepreneurship is hard as shit. And if you guys think it's not, if you think that entrepreneurship is a vacation, if you think entrepreneurship is something that you have a right to do, okay, not one person listening to this podcast has a God-given right to be an entrepreneur. Okay, not everyone listening to this podcast, honestly, is cut out to be an entrepreneur. Okay, you may be the worst entrepreneur in the world. Maybe you shouldn't even be one. Maybe you should be the number two. Maybe you should be the person who is the co-founder of the entrepreneur. Maybe you should go find an amazing job that you absolutely love with an amazing entrepreneur who pays people well and who appreciates them, and that you absolutely are fired up every single day to do that work. Okay, people who go out there and say that anyone can be an entrepreneur, I think, are completely false. It's like me going out there and saying, that I'm gonna be Usain Bolt and I'm gonna be an Olympic sprinter. It's not gonna happen. I wasn't born with those abilities. I can be as good a sprinter as I can be, but that's still gonna be a very, very, very mediocre sprinter, right? And that's the same thing with entrepreneurship, because there are certain things you can learn. Like with sprinting, I can totally learn the technique. I can learn the technique of how to move my legs and what to do, and I can learn all those techniques. But if I'm not born with those things that are going to enable me to be world class at them, then I'm never going to get there. And same thing with entrepreneurship. Okay, if you're not born with that risk threshold, and or you don't cultivate that, it's going to be really hard to be an entrepreneur. You're probably going to give up too early. If you're not born to be the type of person who sticks through things far past the point when most people would quit, then you're probably not going to be a good entrepreneur. Okay, and I'm not saying this as a bad thing. I'm saying it as you need to be mentally aware of where you fall so you can make sure to really position yourself for success. Okay, so let's go back to the non-negotiables. So what I would do is take out a piece of paper right now and think back to your previous job, or the job you've got now, or your current business, or your previous business, or your mentors or people that you idolize, and look at the things that you absolutely want to avoid. Okay, write those things on one part of the paper. Draw a line down the middle of the paper. On the left side, write the things that you want to avoid from your previous business experience, your previous jobs, people that you've seen around you, or mentors or idols. Okay, and for me, some of those things were, I had a boom and bust business model. Okay, we were based off of basically promotions. We didn't have this consistent revenue source. We didn't have good systems for generating really consistent customers. Okay, we didn't have things set up to really structure the business around freeing the team members up. I was always really locked into being critical. It was critical that I had to be there every single day to do certain things. So I didn't like those things. I also didn't like that for me at my core, I just was not fired up at my core about what I was doing. It was a great business. Like I said, we had great customers, we had great products. My business partner was amazing. But me at my core, I couldn't connect what it was that we were doing, and what it was that I was doing anyway, to a true mission that I was just completely fired up about. That I was finding myself subconsciously connecting almost everything I was doing in life to this mission, whether I thought about it or not. Okay, and that's what's happening now. It's like I'm just always connected to this mission that I've got to amplify leaders, which is why I have this podcast, which is hopefully why you're listening to this episode, and hopefully you're getting something out of it. Also, we've got a mission as a company to add humanity back to business. and help people regain the precious time in their lives for things that matter. If we can add humanity back to business, and rather than adding automation that removes the personal interaction, we want to be able to add humanity back so you guys feel more personal interaction. So you have an even more amazing experience. So business becomes personal again. It doesn't become an entity that you start to systemize and optimize and automate to your heart's content so you can step away from it. I don't think that's the purpose of business, of being happy in business. Okay, so what are those things that you absolutely don't want to do? Now, on the flip side of it, on the right side of the paper, write those things you absolutely have to do, and you absolutely are not going to do a company unless you do these. And these are going to be kind of your non-negotiables, right? So oftentimes, those things on the left side, the things you absolutely wanted to avoid, if you do the opposite of that, that's probably getting close to some of your non-negotiables. So for me, once again, the boom and bust business model was one of my things. I'm like, this can't happen anymore. Now, one of them was I had to have a deep, connection at my core to true purpose on what I was doing. Another one was I and this was all me, I just wasn't purposeful enough with injecting fun into my business, on a daily basis. And so that's one thing I put in there. It's like, man, business should be fun. It's not about money. Money is a byproduct of doing it right. Money's not the goal. Money is the byproduct of doing the right steps and serving people correctly. Okay. So business should really be fun. If it's not fun, guys, you should really look at it and reevaluate what you're doing and change it or get out of it or something, because life is way too short to be going to work 5, 6, 7 days a week doing something you're not having fun with. Okay. And then, and like I said, what I ended up doing was those were some of the things I wanted to avoid. And on the flip side of it, my non-negotiables were the exact opposite. And then what I ended up doing was I ended up just dialing in my non-negotiables to the ones that I felt were the most important to me. So if I'm going to read down my non-negotiable list right now, the first one is singular focus on the big thing. Okay. One of the big things that I was just despising with my previous work life as an entrepreneur is I got really distracted by lots of different opportunities. And I think it's really easy to, when you have success in something, it's really easy to see the shiny objects everywhere and think that you can have success everywhere, right? So, okay, I'm a smart marketer, man. I should start doing consulting as well. Oh, shoot, they like my consulting here. I should start doing consulting for this too. And oh man, this business opportunity came in, so I'm gonna toss in some money here and also help out there. And those are all real world things from my life where during this period of my time where I had some success, I felt that I could tackle anything. I invested in several businesses. I was the owner of like 5 businesses myself, the majority owner. Okay. I started taking on consulting clients. I started the Loft Entrepreneur Co-workspace in our town, which is thriving today, but back then it wasn't thriving because I wasn't focusing on it. We started the Young Entrepreneur Society in town. I was having kids at that time, right? So there was a lot going on. And when I was writing down what I wanted to avoid, I'm like, man, I'm working a lot right now, and I just really don't feel like I'm measurably pushing any big, exciting initiative forward as well as I think it should. I'm not being the best father I should be. I'm not being the best husband I should be. I'm not being the best CEO for any of my companies that I should be. And I'm not being the best investor or local ambassador for entrepreneurship that I should be, because I'm so spread thin. So that became one of my non-negotiables, was singular focus on the big thing. Okay. And if you've never read one of these books, you should write these books down. The Pumpkin Plan is a book that meant so much to my life. The Pumpkin Plan. It started to rain just now, guys and gals. So if you hear that in the background, that's what that is. But I'm hands-free right now, so we're safe. The Pumpkin Plan really helped me to zero in on the big thing and helped give me a framework that really quickly locks my mindset into trimming off the crap and focusing on the big pumpkin. Another great book there is called Essentialism, and it's a big read, but it's a similar concept to the Pumpkin Plan, just a different way of thinking about it. So those are great books there. All right, number 2 non-negotiable for me was have fun and have a big mission and that I believe in at my core. Okay, so have fun and have a big mission that I believe in at my core. And once again, that speaks to what I was mentioning here a little bit ago, that you really should have fun in business. It should be baked into your business. It's no accident, guys and gals, that our business name is after a vegetable, right? It's no accident that we have dolls that we send out to our clients that are carrots. We have Super Carrot, we have Agent Carrot, we have Farmer Carrot, we have Carrot Bud. We're coming out with other dolls. It's no accident that we send out swag bundles and t-shirts to people. It's no accident we have what we call the thread of awesomeness in our team, where we pipe through doses of awesomeness every single day on amazing stories you guys are sharing with us, amazing successes you're sharing with us. It's no accident we have amazing onboarding processes now with our team members. We didn't used to, but now we do. Okay, it's no accident that we have this podcast that most of the time on the damn podcast we're not talking about real estate. We're talking about stuff that really enriches entrepreneurs. Okay, it's no accident you walk into our offices and we have the wall of awesomeness with pictures of our customers, pictures of testimonials, pictures of amazing things people are doing. It's no accident we go out there in the community and we're going to be injecting ourselves in the community even more. It's all about really having that mission, working the mission into your day, and having fun. Okay, so that's one of the core focuses there. All right. So number 3 on my list was consistent and predictable. And this goes back to that thing that I mentioned before that I put on the left side of my paper, of the thing that I really despised was having a boom and bust business model. And there's so many reasons why a boom and bust business model is not good. Okay, one of the main reasons is you can't plan on it. You can't plan very well when you have a boom and bust business model. Okay, you aren't sure where your revenue is going to come from that next month. You aren't sure how much money you're going to make. So you can't really plan big expenditures, big investments. It's really hard to plan hires. It's really hard to honestly be confident in yourself as an entrepreneur. It's really hard to be confident in telling your spouse about your business and what you guys are doing. It's really hard to be confident about your goals that you're setting if you have a boom and bust business model. Okay, it's really hard to be confident to cast a clear vision that people believe in if you have a boom and bust business model. So that's one of the reasons that became one of my non-negotiables. I wanted to wake up every morning on the first of each month knowing within a 10% variance what my income was going to be that month, whether we did anything or not. And I can confidently tell you that right now, very purposefully, we've built this company because of this non-negotiable, that we know within a small percentage what our income is going to be that month before the month even starts. And that's a pretty darn good feeling. And it's not an accident. You guys might be saying, well, it's because you're a software company and you set it up to where people pay recurring payments. Well, yeah, that's definitely why. But it was because we had intention that that's the type of business we're building. Okay, so if that's what you want in your business and you're wholesaling real estate and you're doing it in a way that isn't systematic and predictable, then that's your fault. You need to structure your business so it's systematic and predictable if that's something you value enough. And you need to be so intentional right now that that's one of the core things you create. And that doesn't happen by accident. We didn't wake up one morning and go, man, this consistency is so sweet. I wish we would have thought about this. It's like, no, we struggle for the first 18 months of our business, sacrificing fast income that would be boom and bust income, sacrificing that income for building a momentum machine of consistency. And that momentum machine of consistency and predictability caught up with us about 18 months ago, and such an amazing, amazing thing to have in your business, but it didn't happen without being intentional. Okay, one of these non-negotiables. All right, non-negotiable number 4 is build a long-term valuable asset. So one of the things I had in my businesses before was, because they were boom and bust business model, because they were oftentimes based off of me, a consulting business, my consulting ideas, something like that, I started to think about my family a lot. So what happens if something does happen to me? What happens if I'm driving right now, heaven forbid, what happens if I don't make it home, right? So what is my family taken care of? And if I'm not planning ahead well enough, if I'm not planning ahead well enough in my business that if something were to happen to me, my family's completely taken care of, then that's me not being a good steward of my business. That's me honestly not being a responsible father, not being a responsible CEO. That's me not being a responsible husband. Okay, so I want us all to really look hard at ourselves and ask us that question: are we building a long-term valuable asset that if something happens to you today, is your family taken care of? Do you have a life insurance policy right now that takes care of your family if something happens to you? If not, I'm telling you right now, that's your duty to go out there and do that. That is your duty as a husband or a wife. That's your duty as a father or a mom. That's your duty as the CEO of your company to make sure that people are taken care of if something happens to you. Because a lot of the magic in a business is locked up in your brain. A lot of the magic in the business is locked up in the brain of the founder at the early stages of the business. And if you don't unlock that knowledge from your brain in systems, in people, in processes, like we're building with Carrot, and like a lot of you are building or should be building or want to be building, and then if you're also not unlocking the potential income with a life insurance policy that protects your family and your business in case something happens, that's I really feel it's a duty that you should uphold. And if you have employees, if you have more than 2, 3, 4, 5 employees that are really reliant on you, okay, and you have a key employee, maybe a key co-founder, each one of you, if you're making enough revenue, each one of you should have a life insurance policy on the other one that pays the business to replace that person. Okay, so if I start to look at how do I build a long-term valuable asset as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of things there. There's protecting myself, protecting my family, protecting my employees, protecting my co-founders, protecting our customers, protecting you guys. Okay, because you guys as our customers and listeners, you want to be working with a company that's predictable, that's consistent, that's going to be long term. And if you hear me sitting here talking about that we're the opposite of that, you should not feel very easy about trusting your business in us. Right? So it's a big responsibility, us as entrepreneurs, to make sure that we are building long-term and consistent, predictable businesses. Because if we don't, what you're doing every single day right now is going up in smoke at the end of the day. Instead, what I wanted to do was every single day I'm working is building momentum and building something bigger. Every single day that I go to work, and every single day that my team members go to work, we're building something bigger. We're stacking another brick on the wall, okay? And that's a big deal. So one of the ways that we did that also is, once again, I focus on my business model, okay? So if it's important to me and looking at my future, let's say in 10 years, I have a clear ideal of how I want to be living my life. In 10 years, I have this ideal of, here's where I want to be. Here's the type of real estate I want to own. Here's what I want my team and my work life to look like. Here's what I want my work day to look like. For me, I started to look at it and I was like, okay, with that vision, there's a high likelihood that I may or may not be the active day-to-day CEO of this company, of Carrot, in 10 years. I mean, possibly the company might outgrow me in that role, and I might go to a different role in the company. Okay, where a more experienced CEO who can take us to the next level can come in there, possibly. Possibly at that time, we might have a bigger, huge, better idea that me and some other team members want to take on and grow, and we have other amazing team members that take Carrot and make it even better. Okay, who knows? But I do know that we couldn't do any of that stuff if we weren't building an asset. What happens if someday you just get burnt out on your business, or you're like, you know what, I want to move on, I want to travel, or I want to start to sell a business. Can you sell the business you're creating? Can you sell it? Are you building a sellable asset right now? And most wholesaling companies are not going to be a sellable asset, just straight up. And I'm not saying that they should be, and I'm not saying you should stop wholesaling at all. But what I am saying is you just get intentional with what you're wanting, get intentional with what you're looking for. And if building a long-term valuable asset is important to you, you need to make sure that right now you're focusing on how to do that. If it's a wholesaling company, you need to be building a team, you need to be building a brand, you need to be building consistent, predictable sources of seller leads. You need to be building that whole machine so you could possibly sell that business if you wanted to, or you need to be taking that money you're making from wholesaling and pile it into income producing businesses or income producing real estate. So you can use wholesaling as that active income source, pile that money into something that is a long-term valuable asset, income real estate, a business like Carrot or something like that. So then you're making money with wholesaling or flipping houses and piling into that long-term valuable asset. Okay, so whatever it is, make sure you're not just making money for today, but you're building an asset for tomorrow. And that's one of the core things we're doing right now. That's why we made a brand. We focus on our brand a lot. That's why we're building an amazing team. We pay them very well. That's why we're branching into the real estate agent market, because we really feel that we can serve that market better than anyone is serving them for the particular niche that we feel we can serve them with. And also it's going to help us build a bigger company, which builds a bigger valuable asset, right? Non-negotiable number 5 for me was live on purpose and work within my unique abilities. Okay, and we've talked about purpose and unique abilities quite a bit on the CarrotCast. If you haven't listened to those episodes, go back in the archives, go to CarrotCast.com or go to iTunes and find the ones on purpose, find the ones on unique ability. But unique ability basically is something that I learned back in 2011, 2012 from one of my mentors. Greg Clement, one of my mentors, amazing person, amazing entrepreneur, amazing man of faith. And I looked at a lot of things he was doing, and I'm like, man, the way he's doing it, like I just felt that I wanted that. And I started to dig in on how he was able to build the type of business he did, how he was able to show up to his office just a couple days a week. But when he did show up, he was doing the things he absolutely loved that fired him up, and how he was able to build such an amazing team of people who took off the things he didn't like to do. And it all boiled down to this one concept of unique ability. And unique ability isn't something Greg made up. It's something that he learned, and also I learned from a program and a person called Strategic Coach with Dan Sullivan. And Strategic Coach is a program Greg went through. Many of my entrepreneur friends went through Strategic Coach. And it's a year-long program. It's not cheap. It's a year-long program where you travel quarterly to their offices in Chicago or Toronto. And you go through their process, which is an amazing process each quarter. And it's just so great. They walk you through on how to be a better entrepreneur, how to regain time in your life, how to really become more purposeful, how to be happier in doing what you do, how to take more time off. Okay, but also build a better business in the process. And unique ability is one of the core concepts. And basically the thing that got me to fully understand what unique ability is for me is it's the things in life for you that you're really good at. You could be world class at it if you really doubled down on it and focused on it, but it gives you energy when you're done doing it. Guys, this thing I'm recording right now, like, this stuff pumps me up. This gives me energy. Okay, and back in 2011, 2012, 13, I wasn't doing any of this stuff because I was kind of behind the scenes in my business. I wasn't doing any of this stuff. And this is the stuff that gave me energy. The stuff I was doing in my business before was the stuff that I've discovered now drags me down. I am a high quick start, low follow through on the Colby test, okay, which means I'm a visionary guy. I love ideas. I'm okay with having a bunch of things halfway done. I really love putting processes together, but I struggle following them. All that kind of stuff. And so for me, the things that I was doing before, which was actually marketing implementation and implementing things in the business, are the exact things that dragged me down mentally, that dragged down my energy. So no wonder I was getting burnout. No wonder I wasn't having fun in that business anymore, because such a small percentage of what I was actually doing on the day-to-day was what actually fired me up and made me happy and gave me energy. Okay, so what gives me energy is teaching the stuff that I love teaching. What gives me energy is amplifying entrepreneurs so you guys can go out there and not make the same mistakes I've made. What gives me energy is helping to create that ripple effect on the world so you can go out there and amplify other people. Okay, what gives me energy is marketing strategy. Did I already say that? I don't know. Marketing strategy. What gives me energy is coaching people and really helping people to be the best version of them that they can. And also, I really, really, really love, going by a loud ass truck with its Jake brake on, so pardon me here 1 second. Past the Jake brake. There we go. There's a lot of those things that give me energy. Okay, so more and more I started to structure my business and my life and my hires around removing the things that suck my energy and adding things to my schedule that give me energy. In July of 2016, we added this podcast. We added the CarrotCast. For 2 years before that, guys and gals, I completely avoided doing podcasts when people were telling me that I should do one. And it was mainly because I didn't have the time in my schedule to do it. And I hadn't fully went all in on unique ability at that point. Even though that was in my non-negotiables, I hadn't fully went all in on it yet. Okay, and it takes time. You can't go from 30% of your work being unique ability work to 80% of your work being unique ability work in 2 months. You can't do it. Okay, it took me about a year and a half, and that's just me. Some people can do it way faster. Some people have to take longer. But part of it was because I had to mentally give myself the permission and have the confidence that I could actually build a business where the majority of my work was doing that. Because my previous world was the majority of my income came from me putting together marketing campaigns, or me implementing SEO, or me implementing this or that, or me doing all the writing. Okay, so I had a really hard time disconnecting those activities, which I did and made me money and made our business money, with my unique ability, with what my worth was. Okay, but as soon as I started connecting my worth with what gave me energy, that's when I started to adjust my schedule based on energy more and more. And the funny thing is, the more that I started adjusting my schedule based on energy activities and my unique ability, and finding people who could do the things that were not within my unique ability, the more money I made. I went and basically 10x'd my own personal income, over about a span of about 4 years. Okay, and that's because of unique ability, and that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And I'm going to finish up this call with on purpose. That was the 5th part of that non-negotiable. Live on purpose and in my unique abilities. The on purpose part, we had a whole call on purpose here about 5 or 6 episodes ago with my intern at the time, but he's an employee of Carrot now, Mike Blankenship. We talked about purpose, but for me, purpose is a double-edged sword. Purpose is one of those things that we all seek out, but very few of us truly find for some reason. Okay, we all seek purpose out, but very few of us truly find it. And I really feel that finding true purpose, number one, purpose changes. Okay, so I think purpose changes during phases of life, and I think that's okay. And I think we should just recognize that purpose changes. And so if you ever feel that you've got your purpose locked down right now, just know that it's probably going to change, and it's probably going to adjust. As your life experience happens, as you get older, as your family life looks different, as you gain new experiences, new appreciations for different things. Okay, your purpose will change for sure. So find that purpose that's good for you in this part of your life. But the big thing that I found is on the other side of the sword, the part where most people don't find it in their lives, their true purpose, their true purpose, is we put too much pressure on ourselves to find purpose. And we look at, you hear me talking about what I'm so fired up about, which right now, once again, is really amplifying leaders and just really being that beacon of positivity and possibility for the world. I love that. I feel there's not enough positivity in this world. There's way too much negativity. So we need to be massive beacons of positivity. That's one of the reasons it's one of our core values here at Carrot, is be a beacon of positivity and possibility. Okay, but the thing is, when you're looking at purpose, oftentimes we beat ourselves over the head trying to find that ideal purpose. And like I was alluding to, you listen to other people who seem like they have this massive purpose, and we're going, oh my gosh, they have this like really big and worthy purpose. Gosh, I've got to find something just as big and something just as worthy. Otherwise, man, it's not a good purpose, right? Your purpose could literally be, I want to count all of the snakes, the snake population in frickin' Oregon. Like, that might be your life's purpose. As long as that connects at your core, and you've got this reason, you're so fired up about why that matters, awesome. That's your purpose, and I love it, okay? It doesn't have to be this big worldwide purpose. And I'm going to reel it all the way back and give you perspective, okay? So from 2008 or so through 2012, 13, I struggled and beat myself up to find my purpose. I put purposes on the wall. We created company missions that I felt were worthy, that looked good on paper, right? They probably looked good to our customers, but I didn't live at my core. But the thing is, what I did that year is I said, you know what? That year I was going through a big transformation, 2012 and 2013. And one of the things that kicked it off in a whole series of events that I can talk about again if you guys want me to in another podcast, on exactly the series of events and exactly the mindset shifts I had to make to 10x my income, to make millions a year, to be insanely happy about what I do, to be highly purposeful. There's guys, while I'm saying that, I have so many freaking flaws in my life right now. I'm probably at the worst physical fitness point that I've ever been in my life. And that's something I'm working on big time this year with the help of some of my buddies and mentors locally. Okay. I am nowhere near where I want to be with being mindful at home, with being the best husband and father and friend I can be. Nowhere near. Okay. Nowhere near those things. So I've got some massive faults in my life that I still need to tackle. But going back to purpose, that year, there was this whole string of mindset shifts I had to make. And I'm like, you know what? One of the things that's really defeating me is trying to find this perfect purpose. And I watched the video with Eric Thomas. He's called the Hip Hop Preacher. It's on YouTube. And it was this video that's been watched tens of millions of times. And I think it's something called, you want it so hard, you want it as much as you can breathe, or something like that. Go find that, Eric Thomas, as much as you can breathe. Watch that video. But what happened was, after I watched that video, I really liked it. It really hit me hard at that point in my life, because I was realizing I was not playing full out in life. I wasn't taking things far enough. I wasn't giving myself the full chance to succeed. I wasn't believing in myself enough. And so that video hit me pretty hard. I realized I didn't want it enough. All right. At least I wasn't exhibiting those. So I went on his Facebook profile and I started looking at his other videos. And this other video that I walked through, he was talking about this part in his life where he was beating himself up about purpose and this and that. And he was from inner city Chicago, or wherever it was, the inner city, had never got good grades. No one expected anything out of him. He'd quit everything he'd ever started in life, including school. Okay. And what he did was he said, you know what? I'm not making this big worldly purpose. Right now, I got to work on me. My purpose this year is to do the best I can possibly do at everything in life. My purpose this year is to do the best I can possibly do at everything in life. The little things, the big things, everything. Okay? And for me, that made so much sense. It completely clicked in my brain that year. I'm like, man, you know what? That's it. That's my purpose. Because I knew I was not doing the best I could possibly do. And during that year, one of my brother's best friends, who I was decently close with as well, because he was always over at our house growing up, he passed away at the age of 34 with 3 kids. He was in his backyard. He was gardening on a Sunday, doing yard work. They were talking about retirement, what they'd be doing 10, 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road. And little did they know, he wasn't gonna be there for dinner that night. He ended up passing away with a brain aneurysm. And I didn't let people know that, but it hit me hard. It hit me hard during that time, and it really hits me hard today. Because think of this, guys. I'm 34. I have 3 kids, exact same age, similar situation life-wise as he was in when he passed away unexpectedly. And for me, that really put a lot of perspective on life. For me, that made me look back and go, man, I am totally putting other people's opinions in way too much importance in my life. I am totally undervaluing the impact I can make on this world. And I am totally not giving myself the chance to truly succeed and truly help others succeed and truly be that beacon in this world that I know I can be. And as soon as I heard Eric talk about that his mission was that year was to be the best he could possibly be, to look back at the end of that year and with confidence say, I did the best that I could do at everything in my life, small stuff and big stuff. That was my purpose. And if that's what needs to be your purpose this year, do it, because it was life-changing for me. That year, that was my purpose, and all the small stuff. Okay, I grew up being messy. I grew up being really messy. I remember my bedroom I shared with my younger brother, Kyle, who's also an entrepreneur, owns a company called Athletes Brand that's doing very well. We grew up in the same room, and our bedroom was literally, it had 2 inches of crap all the time. Clothes, toys, whatever, right? And bless her heart, love my mom to death. They put up with it, right? And then once a month or whatever it was, they would crack the whip. It's like, guys, you need to get the bedroom clean, and we'd be in there for like an entire day cleaning our bedroom. So I carried that into my adult life, and I just figured that was me, that I was disorganized, that I was messy. And so when I got married to my beautiful wife, who's very clean, the house was always clean, but I always thought I had to have permission to have my messy spaces, right? It's like, well, this is me. Just you got the whole rest of the house. Just let me have my closet. Let me have my truck. Let me have my dresser drawers. Just let me have those, and I'm fine, right? But after I committed to doing the best I could possibly do and be the best I could possibly be that year as my personal mission in life, I would find myself opening my dresser drawers and looking at my t-shirts and go, man, that's not anywhere near as good as I can do. And I remember one day I took those t-shirts, dumped them all on the ground, got rid of half of my t-shirts, the ones I wasn't using but were cluttering up my brain subconsciously. And I folded my shirts, printed shirts on the left, plain shirts on the right. It's been that way every single day since then. For what is this going on? 7 years now. 5 or 6 years now. Okay, open up my closet one day. Closet was always a complete zoo. The floor of the closet you could never see, clothes everywhere, complete zoo. Open up my closet one day, triggers in my brain. This is not anywhere near the best you can do. Got rid of half my clothes, put everything on hangers, go get new hangers, shoes on the bottom, clean out all the crap. Big trip to Goodwill. Closet's been like that ever since. Another example I like to use is I was always really used to, just once again being honest, my mom was just an amazing mom, as in she was the prototypical kind of leave it to beaver style mom, where she's an amazing cook, so loving, she cleaned. It was me, my dad, and 2 brothers. So my mom wasn't fortunate to have a daughter, just 3 boys and her husband. And so we would rinse our dish off and put it on the counter if we were lucky enough, if we were considerate enough to even wash our dish. So I built that bad habit. Got married, I would rinse my dish, put it on the counter, and I had full intentions on getting in the dishwasher later. But one day I rinsed my dish, got in that habit, I continued that bad habit, put that dish on the counter, and I remember walking away and took 2 or 3 steps away and just stopped dead in my tracks. And I'm like, man, that's not the best I can do. So I turned around, put that dish in the dishwasher, and walked away. And every single time I did that, clutter released from my mind. All this subconscious crap and all this subconscious clutter that was blocking my mind because of all of this mess, all of these untidy things, all these open loops in my life, that started to slip away. And these 5 non-negotiables that we've been talking about today, these 5 non-negotiables started to get legs. These 5 non-negotiables started to really, really work in my life. These 5 non-negotiables started to work in my business. We started to think bigger. We started to do bigger. We started to act bigger. We started to hold ourselves accountable at a bigger level. We started to think, let me do the best we can do. We started to look at this business and go, you know what? This business, when we started Carrot, I thought it'd be pretty sweet if we can get a few hundred customers and make 20 or 30 grand a month and just build a great business, help a lot of people, and build a lifestyle business. But the more we got locked into this business, the more we got locked into our mission, the more we got locked into knowing that this business is a platform for making change, a platform for creating impact, a platform for positivity and possibility. It's like the more people that lock into our podcast and our blog posts and our software that we can reach and impact in their heart and in their minds, in addition to their business, that's why I do this. So when we did that, we blew past those numbers. I'll be completely transparent with you. It's one of our core values. We have 3,000 customers right now, active customers. We'll do several $1 million in revenue, millions in revenue, and there's no signs of stopping. We're highly, highly, highly profitable. It's a dream business, but it's not because we started the business based on money. It's not because we said we want to make X amount of money. The money was the byproduct. The money was a byproduct of intentionality with non-negotiables. The money was a byproduct of having that clear focus on consistent, predictable revenue. Money was the byproduct of having fun in business, because the more fun you have in business, the more you want to do it. Okay, money was the byproduct of wanting to build a long-term valuable asset. Money was the byproduct of mission and purpose, because the more that we could build mission and purpose into this business, the more we wanted to grow it, and the harder we were willing to work to grow it, and the higher quality employees we were able to attract because of this mission. And all of that equals more revenue, more profits, more fun, more impact. All right, so this episode of the CarrotCast, this truck talk, if you came in halfway or whatever, I'm in my truck. I'm almost home now. Gosh, I hope you got something out of this podcast. And it's kind of one of those things that timing is so important in life. If the timing is right for you right now, this podcast is going to hit you square between the eyes, and it's going to be exactly what you needed. If timing is not right for you right now, you're going to think you wasted 50 minutes of your time, your life, okay? And if that's the case, sweet. Take a mental brain bank, put this in your mental brain bank, know that it's here, come back in a year or 6 months or 2 or 3 years when you're at the point to where you're ready to absorb this message that's going to take you to the next level. Because being honest, if I would have heard this message 5 years ago, I would, yeah, that's cool, inspiring stuff. That dude's got it together. Seems like he's got some cool stuff going on. But man, I'm just hustling. I'm hustling for dollars. I'm hustling to do some deals. I'm hustling to turn this. I'm hustling to do that. I don't want to build a big business. Building big business seems like a pain in the butt. I want to build a lifestyle business. I want to build the kind of business that I can wake up and work at my kitchen table in my underwear. Man, that's what I want to do. That was where I was 5 or 6 years ago. All right. And I can tell you, if you do it with the non-negotiables and you have the right ones and you have true core values that you believe in, you iterate those core values as you go. You have true mission that hits you at your core. You have true purpose in life that you discover because you declutter your life from all the crap and all the stuff that doesn't matter. You're going to want to build that business as big as you can, because that business is going to start to serve you. That business is going to start to serve other people, and it's going to be an entity that you can't stop. That you can't stop other people from wanting to be getting involved with. Okay. So anyway, if you resonated with this message, what I want you to do is if you're listening to this on our website, please put a comment down there below this on our website in the comments section, and let me know what part of this is igniting you to change some shit in your life right now. Pardon the French. Okay. What part of this message is igniting you to change some stuff in your life? Is it non-negotiables? Is it whatever else? Please forward this to someone else that you feel is going through something right now that they need to hear this. Okay? Forward this to someone else right now on Facebook. Forward this to someone else on our blog. Forward this to someone else in your email box. Text it to them if you feel that this is going to crack through and help them change their life. Don't be shy about being that beacon of positivity and possibility and sharing things that can change people's lives, even if you think it's corny. Okay? And also, share this puppy up on social media, and please give us a rating and review. The ratings on iTunes, that's like my oxygen for this podcast. Okay, ratings and reviews on iTunes are my oxygen, and I would love to get over 50 ratings and reviews here for the next month or so. A lot of people are shy about hopping on there, or maybe you don't have the time, but please take the extra 60 seconds, go to iTunes, go find this podcast, give us a rating and review on there. That is oxygen. I would really love it. I'd really appreciate it. And man, this episode to me means a lot, because this is some of the hardest but most fruitful stuff I've ever gone through in my life as an entrepreneur and as a human being. And this is coming from my core, guys. Like, if I was to give you my core advice on how to go from being miserable or feeling like you're not where you want to be in your life, in your business, in your profession, you're getting dragged down by your work, you don't have the energy to do your work, you don't have clear direction on why you're doing it, where you're going, how you're going to get there. This is exactly how I did it. Now, there's a few gaps in between that I don't have time to fill in that I'd be happy to at another time. If you want to hit me up on Facebook or add a comment below here, ask me on those. But guys, take this to heart. Go implement it. Go crush it in this world. You deserve it. The world deserves to hear your message. The world deserves to feel the value you've got to bring. Okay? And be that beacon of positivity and possibility for your world. Alrighty? If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, go to iTunes, subscribe to it, or go subscribe at your favorite podcast catcher. And I really look forward to hearing your feedback. And I really look forward to hearing what your life is like in 2 years, because that's where the transformation happens. It's not today. It's not next week. It's not next month. It happens as you gain momentum, and momentum is going to really pick up steam in 6 months, a year, 2 years. All right, be here for the long game. All righty, have an amazing rest of the night, the rest of the day, the rest of the run, the rest of the shower, the rest of whatever the heck you're doing, and go live out loud this week. All right, see ya.